So if somebody tells you that the earth is flat and they really, really believe it, right? They really believe that
Right.
it is flat. And of course, you believe otherwise. Do you think you'd be able to convince them to believe otherwise, that the earth is round? And would you want to make them believe that it is round instead of flat? And so this is what came out for me, Letty, on this video that
Yeah.
and this video that we watch. It's a really,
Yeah.
really good video by
It's
Alan
amazing, guys.
Watts. It is one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those motivational, channels. But
Right.
it is by Alan Watts, and he's talking about awakening. Oh, that's what
Yeah.
I got from it anyways, talking about
Right.
awakening. And he said, people cannot be talked out of illusions. And that was
Nope.
like, I thought when I heard that, I was like, that is so true. I'm not going to make you
Mhm.
believe that you are spirit, that you're eternal. I'm not going to be able to do that for you.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to advise you and do encouragement words if you really don't want to leave where you are. You're asking people for help. For example, help me. This is like, I'm going through a really tough time, but you really don't know yourself. No one can talk you out of where you are. If you're in hell,
Right.
and if you want to stay in hell, you will stay there until you decide otherwise. So that's what I got from this video. It's a really, really cool
Yeah.
video. So I'll try and put a link underneath, and so people can watch it. So what do you think, Letty?
Well, you know what I took from the video, and I just mentioned this off camera, was okay. So when you guys watch this video, it's gonna knock your socks off. I absolutely love it. I love that
Yeah.
it's profound in its messaging.
And
It's
it's a
so
short
profound.
nine
It's
minute
short,
video.
9 minutes, but it's impactful. It's very impactful. And the one thing that I got the most was that for those of us that are trying to find Zen, or that are, we struggle to find it. We're like, well, how can I get that? How can I have Nirvana? How can I get closer to God? I'm going to have to look for it. And he says in there, and it's so simple, although it's hard. He said, don't stop efforting, stop working so hard. It's already there. You already have it. And what he says right here, he said, they're asking the wrong question. When they ask, how do I get it? The very fact that you're wanting to attain it, okay, is the very fact that is preventing it from coming into your experience, because we get so caught up in this 3D idea that it has to be a struggle, it has to be hard, blood, sweat, tears. We got to suffer through it, and it's not going to be easy, right? And only certain people, but it's already right there. So even he said, just be,
Yeah.
just be, just that's it, nothing else. And I think, it's easier said than done, like I said. However, even having that thought is a limitation.
Yeah.
That's a programming. That's a
Yeah.
conditioning. So even saying those little, how many times do we say stuff like that, right? Oh, it's easier said than done. That is so, that's such a perfect example of how over hundreds of years, how many thousands, millions of people have said that phrase, Irene. And it's
Yeah.
a programming, it's a conditioning, it's a brainwashing statement, because it is easier than we think. We are the only ones standing in our own way.
That is so
We
true. That
really
is
are.
so true. Yeah, and of course we've done that. I've done it myself. Like, how do I awaken fully? How do I become enlightened? How do I do this other career, for example? Or how can I get more money? Or how can I be likable to friends and family? All those things. And you know what I got from what he said is that, well, it's already there. You are already it.
All those
You
things.
are the I. Oh, he didn't say this, but we are the I
I
am.
am. Yeah.
But we're putting blocks in front of us, because when you want to say, what is my purpose in life, or I want to find my purpose, of course you won't find it, because your idea is you keep looking. You're telling the universe that you haven't really found it. You're still looking. I want to find. Whereas Alan Watts is saying, stay in the now. He says the now is the eternity. The now,
You're
stay
already
now.
found. Yeah, you
Yeah.
are already found. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why all these spiritual teachings are telling us to just stay in the now and create from the now, from the present moment,
Mhm.
because that's where the power is. Don't create from, oh, I've had a past experience where I was traumatized, where someone didn't like me, and then you create from that point in your past life. Or my partner left me, a parent left me, I was abandoned as a child, all those stories, or all those stories, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
let it go now. That's what spirit is meaning to say when they always say let it go. Letting go of those stories. We are not that. We
No,
are the I am. We are this. We are this human being. But we are also spirit.
right. Well, and he also goes on to say that once you discover that you are the I am, you realize that everyone is too, right? But
Yeah.
also the smallest organism, a gnat, he said a gnat, a fly, a gnat,
A fruit fly and a
a
gnat.
fruit fly and a gnat is an event.
Yes, I
It's
like
an
that.
event that
Everything
the
is an event.
universe relies upon,
Yes.
and it relies upon the universe also. So there is nothing on this planet that does not have a purpose. We all
Yes.
mean something to each other, to the planet. I mean something to the ocean. You know, I went to the ocean on Father's Day with Andy.
Oh, that's so
And I
cool.
went to go see my dad. And then we decided, when I came home, I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "Well, I'd like to have something for lunch." I said, "Okay." I picked him up. We went to this place, got some food. He goes, "Well, let's go watch the sunset." And I said, "Okay, fine." Wasn't in the plan. I was all dressed up, had heels and everything. And I threw him out the car, I just put him in the back, and I said, "Let's go." So we went, we sat there, and I was just watching how I think for the first time in my life, I really felt like I was part of this whole thing. It was so much a part of our experience, but we were a part of its experience. The seagulls, the cranes, the all these birds. It was so crazy. And the whales out here in Monterey, California have been making the news
Oh,
because there's so many of them that are coming here and they don't know why. Researchers are trying to figure out. I guess there was a news story about the orcas that turned over that boat in Spain. But we usually have whale watching here. We have whales that come to the Monterey Bay, to this coastline. And for some reason, there's lots of them now. There's like 40 orcas out in the ocean right now, and here where I'm at. So I had no idea of any of this until yesterday morning. Well, but I realized that when I was sitting there at the beach and I was really enjoying and appreciating all of this life force energy coming from the waves, the rocks, the sand, the
mhm.
little sea creatures that I couldn't see, but I could feel their energy, the birds. I was giving and receiving. It was this ebb and flow. And I thought, so when I heard that, when he said that the enormous depends on the tiny and the tiny depends on the enormous, you know,
Yes.
sometimes we think we're just one person in this great big world, but we mean the world to one person.
Yes. Like the
And
gnat, or
the
even
gnats,
that bacterium. So a single
one single
bacterium.
bacteria, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cell, the little, yeah. And so
Yeah.
I think it's, what I love about this video, and I hope that everyone gets a chance to watch it. Um, is it really just brings the macro of the universe and the enormity of it and this whole experience to one simple truth. And the truth
Mhm.
is that everything you do matters. We
Don't put
matter.
yourself down. Don't think
No,
that you're unworthy, because everything and everyone, we are all worthy. And then you talk about the macrocosm and the microcosm. Really, there's no separation. It's all one, right?
it's
And
all one.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
well,
about the whales there that you mentioned. So
yeah,
I'm just thinking, while you were talking, I was thinking, so the scientists are baffled and they're trying to figure out why. But then I thought, it's because we've been conditioned. So it's the conditioning again, that everything has to be like this. They have to come at a certain time. It has to be this much number of whales that come.
yeah,
And if there's more than that, and if they come at a different season, then something
yeah.
is not right.
A
But
whale
then we have
frequency.
to be aware that, hey, everything is constantly changing. And this
Yeah.
is, they need to be
The
excited
temperature's
about it,
changing. Yeah.
but it's widening your perception that, yeah, when they come here at a different season, it's okay, right? It's
It is
okay.
okay.
Just like you let it go and do a different job. You become, I don't know, something else, but it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay,
I'm gonna
right?
go work on the railroad. Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it's
And you know
okay.
what? I'll do the best. I'll be my best railroad person I could possibly be.
Yeah, it's
I
just
think
an
one
experience.
It is an experience. And I think, Irene, sometimes we forget about how nature, they're also awakening. They're also ascending. We're every being on this planet is ascending. We're all receiving these light codes. We're all receiving these upgrades. We're all receiving these opportunities to just go higher and higher. Now in the animal kingdom, it's a little bit different. Last time I can't remember what animal I was in any incarnation to tell you, but animals do have their own process as well, right? They're probably higher in their level of frequency than we are. I don't think
Because they
they
don't
have
have
as
the
much of an
ego.
ego. Yeah, they don't have
Yeah.
egos. Um, so it's just kind of is what it is, right? But
Yeah.
the frequency, their frequency is going up too. So maybe they were a 560. Now they're going to 9. You know, it doesn't, I think
Yeah, you
we
see why their frequency is going up, because the collective frequency of humanity is going
is
up.
going
So
up. Yeah.
then you can see that yes, everything really is connected. We
Yeah.
we put our frequency up, then the rest of the people that we live with, they're gonna feel that, and they then have that choice of, okay, do I go up like
Yeah.
her frequency, or do I stay where I am? And as he said, people cannot be talked out of illusions. If they want to stay in their illusion, that's their path. He said, the one that you said earlier, that you already have it. So kind
Mhm.
of stop looking, because you already have it. Just be,
Just
just
be.
use the energy. He said, it's your privilege, a privilege. He called it a privilege. And I thought, he said, it's your
I love that.
privilege to pretend that you don't have it. And he said, that is your life game. You still want to play that game of being unworthy? Go ahead. And we who can see that from the way we perceive it, I think we can just be who we are as well. So we can be an example so they can see us, but we shouldn't try to convince that somebody who still wants to play the game of life in that way of unworthiness to come our way, because they will eventually, they will.
Yeah,
They
they
still
will.
just want to be there and just soak
Yeah.
the energy of that, so they can come out of it higher and bigger and wider in perspective, and
Mhm.
in spirit.
Well, I also
Yeah.
really like that he said sometimes we need a jolt. We need a
Slap.
jolt. Yeah, and how
Yes.
many I've been slapped around this last 6 weeks. We've just talked about that offline. But yeah, sometimes the jolt, guys, it's not it's kind of like I think sometimes we think about shadow, or we talk about, adversity, right? Anything that's happening at this point when you're looking at a lot of things to heal and stuff coming into your experience, we get a little scared. It's we're
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, what do you mean it's going to be hard? It's going to be, am I going to cry? Is it going to hurt?" It doesn't have to be like that either. I think, I'm looking at opportunities now where, and I've always said, instead of challenging, I don't like that word. I don't use that word in my vocabulary. I say colorful, because there's so many different hues of the rainbow, right? That it's just a colorful experience. She's a colorful soul, it's a colorful day, right? It's one of these, and I'd rather just say that, because it's a softer way, of kind of looking at life, and it just gives it a different spin for me. I don't get so down in the dumps. But yeah, when someone says, "Oh my God, it's been such a hard road," or whatever, I'm like, "Yeah, it's been kind of colorful." And if they say, "Well, doesn't that hurt?" And I'm like, "Well, it tingles, yeah, it tingles." And I
Wow.
learned that from someone very special to me, who told me
Okay.
about the tingling. But I think
Right.
I think the jolts are good, not to be afraid of the jolts.
So let me ask you, what are the common jolts that you have experienced? Not you personally, that you've seen or experienced yourself, that
Oh.
happens, like, you know, commonly.
Oh, a loss of a job.
For example, yeah, loss of a
Yeah, a
job,
loss of a
death,
job could be a jolt. Death in
death
the
of a loved
family is a
one.
jolt. Yep.
Oh
Or a
yeah.
breakup. A breakup, someone saying, "Hey, don't want to be here anymore." That happened. That definitely happened with my daughter. And that was a jolt. These things are jolts because we don't expect them. We get so kind of plugged in. Even though we're in our minds, what are we thinking though? Are we happy at that job? Was that relationship the be all end all?
Mhm.
Because remember, we match frequencies. So even if it is a jolt, were we afraid of something happening? Were we afraid they were going to break up with us? Or were we afraid we're going to get fired? Sometimes it's kind of like it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. But we're also a part of that whole thing with what we put out. We attract those, sometimes the jolts. We attract them to ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it happened to me.
definitely.
Death in the family, diagnosis of cancer,
Yeah.
or some chronic disease. Yeah, right. That's a big jolt, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Big jolts.
for yourself or somebody else in your family been diagnosed with cancer, for example.
Yeah, that was a big
That
jolt.
is a really big thing, and it makes you think about your own, what we say, mortality. We are not mortal, we are immortal, we are
Sure, Maria.
infinite. We are, we are everything. And also that he said, when you start to realize about, you start to awaken, I guess that's what he's saying, that things under your own will feel exactly the same as the things going on outside of you. So what's going
There you go. That
on that you
match.
are seeing is actually what's inside of you. and you
Yeah.
created that. It's just a bit, colorful to,
See,
to
there you
think
go.
about. Yes, I
Yeah,
made it
yeah,
too,
yeah.
to think about it in that way. But yes, we do create. And then I forgot, he said something about the syndrome of the holy something syndrome.
Oh, yeah, the
What
holy,
was
yeah,
it,
when you
his
get all
term?
holier than thou, you think you're
Yeah,
all that. Yeah, you
yeah.
get God complex. Yeah,
He said, if you don't understand what's going on, you see, like, you realize, oh, what's happening with me is also happening to other people. But if you
yeah.
don't fully understand that, he says that you think you have the power over people. And then kind
It's
of
true.
you do
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
power over people if they also don't
Give it.
understand it, and they allow you to have power over them, which is what is happening, in our society really for ages, right? The government controls us, we allow it because we were scared, we think that we can't do it, what we have no choice and all that, right? So
Right.
that's what's happening. Yeah, and so it's a give and take relationship in the universe. We are one. And as you said, every event is essential to the whole. So whatever's happening in your life, whether you think of it as bad, it is an essential thing to happen because you need that experience. So the best thing probably is to just think of anything that's happening as neutral. Don't give the meaning to it that you don't want, right?
No. And that's easier said than done, like we had talked about that phrase, right? But I also think that if you just lean into it and you don't real and you stop that thought that I just said right now that we've all heard about forever and ever, 200 years, 300 years. Well, that's easier said than done. Well, it's easy if you think it's going to be easy. It's doable. Everything is doable. We have
Oh
more
yeah.
strength and power than we think. And so I invite you guys to just take that little phrase and get it out of your head, because then you're going to make it hard. When you say it's hard, it's hard, it becomes your reality. But I think the one thing that he said that I really enjoyed the most was shift your attention to the constants, the backgrounds, and the spaces
I
between
love
people.
that. There's spaces between people.
Between
That is
people.
because what he's saying is we just focus on this thing that's in front of us or to the person or whatever it is, or the event, right?
Mhm.
But we forget to look at what's around it. What are the energies or the background, as he says, and the in
Yeah,
between people,
and between people, the
kind
spaces
of
between
reading in
people.
between the lines, kind of. But
Yeah,
also, like, I have a new like, how we say nothing is impossible. Yeah. A
right.
few weeks ago, I thought about it and I thought, I'm going to change it to everything is possible. The same
There you
meaning,
go. Same meaning,
but then
just
you're not
separate.
looking at the
Yeah,
impossible, you
right.
know. I mean, both
Well,
are
you could
positive.
both are very positive. You could also, if you
Yeah.
take impossible and you separate the I am from possible and put an apostrophe,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
possible.
That is
Yeah,
so good. I
yeah.
am that I
I
am.
am and I am.
Yeah. So this is
So
a really
enjoy.
good
Yeah, this
chat.
was a good
Yeah.
video.
I
This was a
love
good
it. I
chat.
love it.
Yeah, I like this one. And I think, guys, thank you for supporting our channel. Thank you for listening and for following us. Please send this out to anyone that you think would benefit from these kinds of talks. We keep it real here with Lightworkers 5.0. We are all on a journey, but we're
Yeah.
not alone on this journey.
And remember, shift your attention to the background and to the in between, to the space in between people.
Yeah.
However that means for you, right? That's so good.
Awesome. I
Okay.
love it.
Thank you, Letty. Thank you.
You're welcome, Irene. Click the bell, guys. Ding, ding. Thank you so much. Namaste.